Because I think this is important. I'm not sure everybody understands it up here, but I want to get your thoughts. And by the way, with a C Corp, I had a C Corp 25 years ago, but a lot of accountants and stuff today are people I know, and I'd be interested in the banks, and this leads into the question really too, is most of them are sub-S LLCs, partnerships, or sole proprietorships because of the pass-through effect. Now, it's a little different today, maybe with the dividends or something, but because of double taxations, and if you're primarily the 100% shareholder, a lot of people go to this. So my question really is that there's a mindset in Washington, unfortunately, that you want to tax the people that make over 150 more aggressively. But part of it is when you do that, you really tax small business because of the pass-through in a big way. My example, and just from friends and stuff, they make $500, let's say, but by the time they pay their taxes, a third, and then they've got a little extra inventory, they add a few extra employees, and sometimes they write things off, but at the end of the day, they always figure out where's my cash. So if we increase taxes up here on individuals, aren't we really affecting negatively hundreds and hundreds or millions of small businesses? And I open that up to the panel. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you were both saying, especially as a community bank and as a credit union, and I'd ask any of the others, isn't that your understanding? So if someone really what I'm saying is someone might show 500 at the bottom line, they made 500, but when it gets down by the time they pay their taxes and other things, that they end up with very little liquid assets or cash at the end of the day many times. And if you added another tax, it just squeezes them that much more. But that's what I find, but I want you to give me your sense of it.
I would agree with you, Congressman Buchanan. I would say looking at our business customers, the overwhelming majority fall into two camps, either sub-S or LLCs. Some LLPs, very few sole proprietorships, but primarily within those two camps. And I would wholeheartedly agree that that passes.
Which passes all the way through to their
exactly.
Yeah, to their tax.
So I would wholeheartedly agree with you.
I would concur with that too. With our, we do a lot of sole proprietorships, partnerships, but we do have some LLCs also. So I would see that as a definite impact on the small business owner.
So if you raise taxes, say 5% on individuals, really what you're doing is you're raising 5% on 99% of the small businesses in the country as well. So that needs to be taken into fact when you consider they create 70, 80% of the jobs. Am I right on that?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else comment or question?
Yes, I'd like to comment. In 2006, I showed enormous paper profits and generated an enormous six-figure tax burden, which I painfully wrote a check out on April 14th. And saw very little of that actual profit in my pocket. Simply put, higher taxes on individuals is a higher tax on sub-S corps, period.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think that needs to be, I'm not sure everybody in Washington understands that, but when we decide to go that way, they need to understand the impact that's going to have on small business. And does anybody have a different experience than that? Or
well, in my experience, I personally took my 401k money out to help my company, even though I'm a corporation. I transferred that money into my company, thus showing a wonderful year for my income taxes, and then had to pay that fee on top of everything else. So I've been extremely penalized, and with no incentive to reinvest in the future. And that's something that I think really we should be encouraging small business to invest in themselves first when times are tough, and then give them some benefit back when times are tough.
I usually find people that end up with maybe $100,000 excess capital, they put it back in their businesses. They're never putting it in their pocket. They're constantly using it because they need it to grow their business. That's been my experience over 30 years. Did you have something, Mrs. Ball?
Congressman Buchanan, I think you're absolutely right. As a small business owner, if you raise taxes, I'm going to get hit. We all are. And you're right. We use any profit, not that we're making any right now, but in the past, we turn that over into the business. So please keep no tax increases. Right now, it would be terrible.
Ms. Hollingworth?
Just very quickly, not only ordinary income tax, but capital gains, dividend distribution. This is an opportunity as a sub-S corp that I can take income at a lower tax rate. So increasing those rates also hurt the sub-S owner.
Okay. Let me just mention on the home building, obviously, Mr. Eckstein, you had mentioned that the impact it's having on you in our area. We've got a lot of home builders. I hate to say it, but, you know, our businesses I've been in are down 10% or so, but home builders are down 70, 80%. You mentioned a couple of things that you thought would help on behalf of the home builders. Any other thing that comes to mind, or I'd like to have you jot me any of your additional thoughts on what we might be able to do to help, because really that's, you know, in Florida and all parts of the country, it's a big issue, and usually we've got too much inventory. So, and I can tell you, I've been involved in partnerships in home building, and the problem is selling the other house, even if you could sell this house. So, I know you mentioned something about carryback on taxes. You mentioned something about tax credit for home buyers. Any other thoughts that you've come up, or your association?
Well, the association, I mean, I think we feel very strongly about some kind of incentive to either, whether it be first-time home buyers or home buyers in general, for at least a short-term basis that could begin definitively and soon, because with conversation out there, it lingers and people just find more reasons to wait, to take advantage of the interest rates that are better than ever. We'd like to see something happen soon that would encourage, you know, first-time home buyers, helps the ladder effect, you know, by moving lower-end inventory and then, you know, pushing it up the ladder. So anything to entice people to buy right now is what we're...
What's your thoughts on, I know in our area, people are very environmentally sensitive. They want to cut energy costs. What about some incentive for home builders, small home builders that are building more energy-efficient homes? Is that something, again, incentive for, or would that make a difference in your area? Is that an area that people are sensitive about that, or not really?
Well, it's an emerging area. I mean, with the green movement and everything, it's coming into home building. But many of us are doing it already through the new adopted building codes. The latest version of the residential building code has great energy, recovery benefits in it that naturally, and they cost money. I mean, they'll cost $10,000 to $15,000 more per unit to build, but there should be some incentive to take advantage of these. People will save money in the long run.